Good evening and welcome to the Long Meadow Select Board meeting of June 22nd. We're holding this as a remote meeting due to COVID-19, and I'll be confirming as the Select Board Chair, Tom Lacusa, will be confirming that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Stephen Morantz. Here. Richard Foster. No. Mark Strange.
Here.
Mark Cole.
Here.
And Richard Foster, is he put in? Okay. And staff, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Lynn Simmons.
Here.
Paul Pasterzik.
Here.
Debbie House.
Here.
Okay. And then we had one speaker, Mary Beth Bergeron. Are you here? Oh, you're on mute. All right. Well, I see you here.
I'm here.
Okay. Thank you. So this open meeting of the Long Meadow Select Board is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12, 2020. Due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth, due to the outbreak of COVID-19 virus. In order to mitigate the transmission of the COVID-19 virus, we've been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings and as such, the governor's order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of the public body are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order, which you find posted with the agenda materials for this meeting, allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless participation is required by law. This meeting will not feature public comment. For this meeting, the Long Meadow Select Board is convening by telephone, via conference, video conference, and via Zoom, as posted on the town's website, and identifying how the public may join. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and that some attendees are participating by video conference. Okay, so thank you. And so, as I mentioned earlier, I had some trouble connecting to this meeting, so I apologize for a couple minutes late. The agenda, we have two items that we're going to address, and the first would be looking at, we had last meeting, we had a comment about a possibility of an injunction to stop the building of the senior center because of the change in terms of adding pickleball courts. And so I guess the first thing, we did hear from the state, but, Marco, would you want to speak to that? Are you feeling the same way about that process?
I think the state's pretty much spoken that, and I'm not sure if it was the Attorney General's office, I think that's who it was, spoke that they believe that this to be authorizable by the Select Board. They're good for it. The Select Board's got cover moving forward.
Okay, thank you. And then Mark Strange, do you have any comments in regards to the injunction and what we've heard from the state?
No, I'm glad that we got confirmation from the Attorney General. So just like Mark said, so now we have cover. If we if we want to move forward with it.
Okay, great. And now, Steve Morantz, I know you weren't at the last meeting, but I don't know if you have any comments on this issue regarding the scope of the project. Did you see the email that was sent out?
Yes, I did. I observed the last meeting. And my comments would be as follows. I think, yes, the Attorney General said this falls within the scope of the first town meeting vote. Fine and dandy, no injunction is necessary to do this. And apparently pickleball seems to be something that's quite popular, and I would assume it enhance the quality of life for all involved with this. My only concern would be that I would really insist, if it's legal, that we charge non-residents of Long Meadow. If they want to play on our pickleball courts, they need to pay. Right? It's, our tax dollars are funding these things. Someone from Enfield, East Long Meadow, hey, there's pickleball courts over Long Meadow, let's go play on them. I think that's swell, but I think they should be charged. And I think that, and I would hope that all involved would figure out a fair way. If we charge them a real lot of money, we want to get too many players, but we might be able to pay for itself in a shorter period of time. So anyway, but that is my I think that's my opinion, that we should charge non residents of Long Meadow if they want to use our pickleball.
Okay, well, that is probably a discussion for another day. It's a little bit beyond the scope of this, what we're going to be looking for today. But, we can look into seeing how, how the adult center is going to deal with those kinds of things in the recreation department. We could ask them to come in and talk to us in the future. We do have enough time, so that's good. And this is not uncommon that members of the board will identify something that seems like a possible conflict, and we will have to go to town council or to the attorney general's office and make sure that we're not in, out of order. So, given the fact, and I've read the report too, I feel that this is well within the scope of the project, and it's nice to have that support. So I guess the next thing would be to look for a motion in regard to the.
Tom, can I ask you? This is Mark. Can I
Yes.
ask? Can I just ask a question? If Mary Beth is on the line.
Yes, Mary, that's the.
I mean, we can have a motion first, and I can ask this as part of it, but since we do things somewhat informal. So the first time we saw this, the request was $119,000 or $120 for 2 pickleball courts, and now it's down to $86,000, I guess. 43%.
Correct. Correct.
One of the things that concerns me is it's still a quote unquote no bid contract or one bid contract. It's coming from the salt marsh or whoever it is who's doing our work for us. Did we go out to get additional bids, and how did the price drop from 120 to 80 to 86?
Well, as I explained, let me address the first question first, and that is that there's no real dropping of the price. As I explained last week at the select board meeting and the previous meeting, although this was not on your agenda, it was under general discussion, that initial estimate had come in and included some additional excavation under all of the courts, all 4 courts, because back a number of months ago, we had found some significantly unsuitable soils, somewhat in the general area of where these courts would be constructed. And so the contractor included doing some deeper excavation, 18 inches to 24 inches, and installing a deeper stone base at that location. Since that period of time when the building committee met, we asked that they give us the price on the single courts to present to you, and for the town to do some additional soil test borings over there, because we feel that we really need to have a wider scope of soil test borings to determine whether or not that is actually needed. And those they're scheduled to be done either this week or next week. And that would fall, we also had a revision on that number, and that falls under the $25,000 that would be going to the select board. So that's why the PCO, the change order that we recommended to you, is that it would be up to but no more than, that you approve it up to but no more than the $45,915, because it is very possible it could be significantly less than that if in fact the soil test borings come out favorably, but we won't know that for a week or two.
And not to get sticky on this thing, but I mean, it seems to me the 2-week delay or 3-week delay from the very first proposal saved the town $36,000. I mean, do we, from 120,000 or 119 to 86, do we know, or because we found we didn't need to do the work, how are we going to assure that as we move forward, we get the best price on this thing? I understand we're authorizing an up to, but what's the building committee going to be doing to make sure that they get the best price on this stuff? Are we going to go out for alternate bids or other
no.
processes?
We would not be going out for alternate bids because it comes under the initial scope of the job, and the first 2 courts are being installed by Montford. The second 2 courts would be pretty much required to be installed by Montford. I don't know if that answers your question, Mark.
I guess so. And just in terms of location, we never did see a map of where these are going. Does the space impose on any other things that we were going to do there, or on the softball fields, or
Nope.
where these
The
how do we get the space?
The location is I'm going to say pretty much. It is pretty much where the trailers are on the site now, which is, if you're looking at the building from the street, they're to the left of the building, fairly close to the building, and so that space is not dedicated for anything else. So certainly a softball field can't go in there. To the rear of the parcel, there is a possibility at some date in the future for the town, if they decided to, would be to make that into a flex field for middle school students or younger.
Okay.
There is sufficient space for that.
All right,
Thank
if I
you.
could just jump in. We have to give about 15 minutes to Paul Pasturzek to talk about the 1/12 budget, and so I'm keeping track of the time here. So I guess quickly, before we move to motions, is there any other questions by Mark Strange on this issue?
No, I don't have any questions.
Okay, Steve Morantz, any other questions on this?
I just want to make sure we the town, it's one pickleball court that and the nonprofit's picking up the other pickleball court. That is correct.
If I could make a recommendation, you can approve this subject to receipt of the funds from the nonprofit for the 4th pickleball court, and that way there would be forever a written record of what happened here at your meeting, as in terms of it being authorized by the select board. But I will say that although the 3, I believe, previous contributions from the nonprofit, those checks went out right away. This check, the nonprofit would hold until such time as we have a solid number. And so the nonprofit would be doing the same thing the select board is, up to but no more than the price indicated on this PCO.
Thank you.
So I guess we would be looking for a motion for this change order, and we could make it also contingent upon receiving funds for the building of the 4th court. Is there anyone who could make that motion for us?
So moved.
Okay, so I think we have to.
Don't mind. I'd like to just get the wording out so that
Sure.
we got it.
Thank you.
Right. I'm not sure I'm going to make the motion, but
All right, yeah.
approve the expenditure of up to $45,913 for the construction of a 3rd pickleball court, contingent upon a nonprofit paying an equal amount for a 4th pickleball court.
Okay, and I think we should probably mention the number of the change order. Is that
PCO 47.
47, PCO 047.
okay? Thank you, Mark. So do we have and Steve? Are you willing to?
I'll move that. I'll move that as well.
We'll move that motion. Okay, and then we have a second.
Second.
Okay.
Can I ask you a question, Tom?
Well, yes.
Should the motion be 45,915?
Yeah, I had some trouble getting to my agenda. So could someone check on that? 45 minutes?
Yeah, what did I say? 45,913?
Right.
It's 15.
45,915. Sorry.
Okay, all right. So.
I don't want to shut down the project over $2 here.
Hmm.
Oh,
Oh,
good.
I'm gonna miss you, man.
So the motion is set for that amount. It's been seconded. Any other discussion on this before we go to a vote? Okay. Deb, will you please do a roll call vote?
Tom,
Yes.
Mark Strange,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Mark Gold.
Yes.
Okay,
Richard's not here, right?
Right.
no.
Okay, thank
Okay.
you.
All right, so
Thank you
good.
very much, gentlemen.
Okay, thank you. We'll look forward to playing some pickleball out there. Not on a day like today, though.
No.
So, Paul, I hope we have enough time here
new chair.
for the 1/12 budget. I know we did get the memo that you sent out today. I think someone may need to mute their speaker. Sounds like Walter. But, so we got the memo saying that the governor is trying to get people to do this 1/12 budget because he's not sure what the state of the whole budget for Massachusetts is going to be. We should start, I don't know, Lynn, if you want to say something, or if we go start with Paul.
If I could, I was listening to a question and answer period with the Department of Revenue staff a week or so ago, and it was highly recommended that this be put into place for those who are having late town meetings in case they are postponed or something to that nature, or not having them even in June. I figured we would go through the motions to put this in place. If we do have a town meeting, this vote and this 1/12 budget becomes null and void, so there is no harm in getting it done. They provided instructions on how they thought it should be done, which I provided in the Excel spreadsheet that was attached. It was basically taking last July's expenditures and then adjusting them for certain other increases or certain other known items that would be happening this July. As an example, there will be a third school department payroll in July. They will be paid on the 1st, the 15th, and the 29th, as opposed to last year. They only had 2 payrolls in the month of July. So we made kind of modifications like that. The other big modification being for collective bargaining agreements. So in total, as you can see from the worksheets or from the spreadsheet, I was asking for $7,081,723 to be the 1/12 budget for the month of July as a precautionary methodology to keep us going in case we get hit with thunderstorms tomorrow and cannot have the meeting before June 30th. So I think that's kind of it in a nutshell, unless people have questions. It's, like I said, precautionary measure.
Okay, so let's go through and see if folks have questions. Mark Strange, any questions about the 1/12 budget?
No questions for Paul.
Okay, Stephen Morantz?
No questions.
Okay, Mark Gold?
Prepay some of our big ticket items, and is that included in the ability to do that this year?
Yes, we did prepay. The biggest prepayments are certainly were to the retirement system and to our liability insurance carrier. Mark, those numbers are in the July 2019 line under debt, employee benefits, and liability insurance at $4 million.
Okay.
So and again, that I
So
added
the 221
increase.
The 221,000, just the increase.
Yeah, the 221,000 is the increase, mainly in the pension assessment. So
Okay, thanks.
we will again take advantage of those prepayments to get the discount.
Okay, great. So it looks like we will have a motion, look for a motion to approve a 1/12 budget of $7,081,723 to cover us for the month of July. Is there a motion to move that?
So moved.
Okay, and is that seconded?
Second.
Second.
Okay. So, Steve, you may be, and then, is there any further discussion on this? Okay, hearing none. Deb House, will you please, give us a roll call vote?
Who seconded that, Tom? I didn't hear it.
I heard Steve Morantz, second.
Steve Rance, thank you. Okay, roll call vote. Tom,
Yes.
Mark Strange,
Yes.
Steve Steve,
Yes.
Mark Gold,
Yes.
Okay, that's about it. I don't know if there's any concluding remarks. I know that we have a couple of meetings scheduled. Um, We had to set up a meeting for this Wednesday, July 24th at 12 noon, an executive session. Um, We have a meeting with the lawyer, and so we put on an agenda for that. And then, but tomorrow is, of course, our town meeting at 6 p.m. And it looks like it's a go. The weather seems to be going just north, the west of us is going to head due north. So let's keep our fingers crossed. That is, I'd bring your cold water with you. We will have some available for folks. You could bring an umbrella. You might want it just to save. Uh, Lynn, I don't know if you have any other comments to make regards to town meeting tomorrow.
Well, we have a public forum, our last virtual public forum in about 6 minutes. So if anyone's watching and would like to join into that, you can stay tuned on this channel or join us via Zoom and you can interact directly and ask questions. But it will be hot, so just plan accordingly and we will try to make it as comfortable as possible.
Okay.
Can I ask Lynn a question, a procedural question? It's not a town meeting. So Mr. Foster is not here tonight. And I don't know, I mean, he may have just not come, but he may be trying to get in. And when we read this thing at the beginning, it's contingent upon, is it just the majority of the people getting in, or is it everybody who wants to get in to the meeting or log in? And do we have an obligation to try to contact people who may be trying to get in and can't get in? And I'm just wondering, I just want to know what the process is when we set up these meetings. Do we require everybody to participate, or they have to state when they're not going to participate? What's the story?
Well, I mean, my understanding is that for select board meetings, members of the board should notify the chair if they're not going to be participating. I think that's been a standing, approach. I did not hear from Richard, so maybe he did have difficulty. But also, we all have Lynn Simon's phone number, and so, like in my situation, I just called her and she sent me the link and everything. So, I guess Richard probably was not available.
But I agree with you, Tom. We do, as a matter of courtesy, usually tell the chair when we can't be there. I just don't know, what the process is. Are we required to try to get everybody in the meetings or not? It's just a pure question, because I could envision where, only, 3 out of 5 are able to get in and they can run a meeting, and the other 2 feel they're left out. I'm just wondering what obligations we have to get from somebody, no, I'm not trying to participate, because, it's not a matter of the systems. That's all. Maybe it's something we can check on for future meetings, because I think it may be important down the road.
Okay, I'll make a note. I'll discuss that with Lynn and Deb House, and so that's a housekeeping thing. But as far as the public, I mean, they should be able to get on it. And I know we have folks from town who did attend this meeting. And so we have about 3 minutes between now and the public forum. And of course, the public forum is optional. But I guess I'll look for a motion to adjourn this meeting of the select board.
So moved.
Okay, so it was moved by, I don't know who, was it Mark? And then seconded by Mark Strain? Is that gonna work? All right, so Deb, roll call vote?
Tom,
Yes.
Mark Strange,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Mark Gold,
Yes.
Okay, well, thank you for joining us. We hope you'll stay tuned for the forum. We'll be going over the warrant. And thank you for tuning in tonight. Okay, bye now.
Night.